The rain hammered down in sheets as Mia Rowe gripped the steering wheel tighter, squinting through the windshield. Her road trip was supposed to be a break from her stressful life, but she'd taken a wrong turn somewhere near the mountains. Now, she was lost in the middle of nowhere, with no GPS signal and her phone battery flashing red. The fog thickened as she turned onto a narrow, wooded road. Just when she thought she'd have to sleep in her car, she saw a flickering neon sign ahead. Briarwood Hotel, vacancy. The place looked like something out of an old horror movie. Victorian-style architecture, dark ivy crawling up the walls, and windows so dusty they looked opaque. Still, it was shelter. She pulled in, parked, and rushed to the front door. Inside, the lobby was dimly lit by a chandelier coated in cobwebs. A musty smell hung in the air, like aged perfume and rotting wood. The carpet was a deep maroon, almost the color of dried blood. Behind the counter stood a man with slick-back gray hair and skin that looked like parchment. His eyes didn't blink as he smiled. "We've been expecting you," he rasped. I don't have a reservation," Mia stammered, water dripping from her jacket. "Room 213 is ready," he said, sliding a rustic key toward her. The brass tag was engraved with a number in a swirling, old-fashioned font. She hesitated, but exhaustion overcame her doubt. As she climbed the creaking staircase, the silence was unnatural. No TV sounds, no chatter, no footsteps. The hall stretched long and narrow, lit by flickering bulbs. When she reached room 213, she paused, the key trembling in her hand. The door opened with a reluctant groan. Inside, the room was worn but clean, almost too clean. The wallpaper peeled in places. The bed was stiff, and the mirror above the desk was cracked. She tossed her bag down and lay on the bed, shivering despite the warmth of the radiator. Sleep came fast, but it didn't last. At exactly 3:13 a.m., a loud thud jolted her awake. Then came a whisper right beside her ear. "You shouldn't have come here." "They killed their guest," Mia shot up, heart pounding. She spun around, but no one was there. Only the cracked mirror stared back, except the reflection was slightly off. It blinked half a second late. Shaken, she stepped into the hallway. Everything was darker than before. The lights above her buzzed and flickered. The air felt heavier, like it was pressing down on her chest. Every door she passed seemed to watch her. As she wandered, trying to find the exit, she stumbled upon an old wooden door marked "Staff Only, Guest Records." With a trembling hand, she pushed it open. The room inside was thick with dust and shadows. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with yellow ledgers and old guest books. One lay open on the desk, a list of names scrawled in elegant cursive. At the top, it read, "Briarwood Hotel, guests who never checked out." Mia's eyes scanned the pages. Each name was followed by the same word, deceased. Hundreds of names, some from decades ago, some from last year. And then her own name, Mia Rowe, room 213. Status, processing. Her breath caught in her throat. She stumbled backward, knocking over a box filled with photographs. Dozens spilled onto the floor. Portraits of smiling guests, then the same guests lying dead in their rooms. Some had slit wrists. Others had sunken, lifeless eyes. All bore the same hollow expression. Near the bottom of the pile, she found a photo of herself, lying motionless on the bed in room 213. Blood seeped from her ears, her eyes wide open in terror. Mia screamed, the sound echoing off the walls. Behind her, the whispering returned, louder now, closer. The same words repeated again and again. "They kill their guests. You're next. You're next. You're next." She ran, but the hallways had changed. No matter which direction she turned, she ended up back at her room. Room 213. The door was now open, and inside she could see herself. Lying in bed, tears streamed down Mia's face as she stared at her lifeless double. The body on the bed was pale, unmoving. It wore her clothes. It had her face. But something about it was horribly wrong. Too still, too cold. Desperate to escape, she turned and ran down the hall, finding a stairwell she hadn't seen before. She descended, hoping for a back exit. Instead, she found the basement. The walls were lined with old medical equipment, blood-stained gurneys, leather straps, rusted tools. A faded sign on the wall read, Briarwood Asylum, closed 1911. That's when it hit her. The hotel wasn't a hotel. It was built on the ruins of an abandoned asylum. The patients, neglected, abused, murdered, were buried beneath its foundation. Their spirits had never left. The guests weren't just dying. They were being claimed. She found a hidden panel behind a shelf, revealing a narrow passageway and a spiral staircase leading to the attic. There, she found a small wooden box. Inside was a brittle, handwritten journal. It belonged to a former guest named Claire Owens, who wrote about escaping the hotel by jumping from a roof. Her final words were etched into the back cover. Die inside and they own your soul. Die outside and you leave it behind. Mia bolted up the last flight of stairs and emerged onto the rooftop. Rain soaked her instantly, but she didn't care. The city lights shimmered faintly in the distance, and the front gates of the hotel were visible from up high. Suddenly, the hotel staff appeared behind her. But now their faces had changed, rotted, melted, inhuman. They moved in perfect silence, forming a half-circle around her. Their mouths opened, but no sound came. Only the wind carried a haunting lullaby. Mia stood on the ledge, arms trembling. I'm not yours, she whispered. And then she woke up 3 days later in a hospital bed. A truck driver had found her lying unconscious on the roadside, miles away from any hotel. Doctors told her there was no Briarwood Hotel in that area. But in her hand, clenched so tightly her knuckles were white, she still held something. A rusted key, room 213. And now, sometimes in her reflection, she swears it still watches her, even when she isn't looking.